how are you? I'm Alexa.
And I'm Andrea.
Welcome to As You Are. Thank you so much for being here. On today's episode, we're talking about journaling,
Yes.
which I feel like journaling is a topic that's very linked to meditation and everything that we've been talking about, like limiting beliefs and empowering yourself, knowing yourself, trusting yourself, setting boundaries, all of that. So I think journaling is a good way to like tie everything back, and I feel like we're going to be referencing a lot of these other things as we're talking about journaling.
Yeah, and also we have talked about, like, for example, in my case, I meditate and then I journal, and you do the opposite. You journal first and then you meditate, so everything like ties together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll start with the polls as we usually do. If you're not on our Instagram, please follow us on Instagram. Every Saturday we post polls asking questions about the upcoming topics. So yesterday we had a poll about journaling, and we love seeing people's answers.
Yes.
Thanks so much to everyone that participates.
Thank you for participating. Okay, so we had 2 polls yesterday. The first one was, have you ever tried journaling to manage stress? So we had 2 answers. Yes, it helps a lot. Second, yes, but it doesn't help. Third, no, but I'm curious to try. And then, no, I never journal. And there was like kind of a tie in between, yes, it helps a lot, and no, but I'm curious to try it.
So it's like there's a trend between, yeah, for sure I journal and it works,
Yeah.
or no, but I want to journal. So it seems like people have a positive perspective on journaling.
Yeah, people that want to try but then probably haven't taken that step to actually do it. But once you try it, I think you will notice the difference.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then the second one was, what's your biggest journaling challenge? The first answer was finding time. Second one, knowing what to write. Third, staying consistent. And last one, I don't journal yet. So most people answered staying consistent.
It was like 74%, was
76%.
it? 76% of people said staying consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true for you too?
Yes, actually, yes. Well, I think that's has to do with finding the time in a way, because I like to do it in the morning, and I think that's what works best for me. And if I don't wake up early enough, then I won't do it.
You know, it's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because now I've gone to the habit of journaling, even if it's not a part of my routine, but just randomly, if ever I'm feeling particularly stressed or bothered by something, even if it's in the middle of the day, I literally stop working and start writing why I'm feeling whatever I feel. And I notice that it's very beneficial to do that, because it's like you're right in it whenever you're feeling all of these thoughts, and then it makes the rest of my day go so much easier, because I feel like I let it out on the paper, and then
I was gonna say that
it's like it calms me down.
Yeah, it's like you take it out of your system and you put it in paper, and that's it. And then you don't have, like, you take it out of your mind and you don't have to think about it.
Yeah. So we have brought our journals today.
We have tried many. Well, yours, it's more
mine
like
is
a notebook.
like blank page.
It's so funny because you know what? Now thinking about meditation, that you do like more. Yeah, I do guided, and you do.
That's so true.
So these are like prompts basically, and all of these have something to say. So they ask you questions and then you answer. But yours are more like a notebook, so you just let it out.
I love it, because we're like a good example for each type of person.
Literally.
So in case you missed it, if you missed it, go watch episode 2 on meditation. Yes. I'm more of a freestyle type of meditation, and Andrea's more of a guided meditation person. And she's more of a guided journaling person, and I'm more of a freestyle journaling person.
Like, if you see mine, it comes with tasks. So they ask you questions, and then you just write them down, and then it has like a portion that says free your mind, and then you can write whatever you want. But like majority of it are questions.
That's interesting.
And now it's like you do it any time of the day, and I do it at one time specifically.
Yes.
Which, I don't know, it's like we have different styles.
Yeah.
We're so similar in a way, but also we do things so differently.
Very true.
Yes.
Well, if you have just a blank page, is it harder for you to journal?
Well, the one that I just told you that I threw away, it was like a notebook. So I would just write. But that I would use when I would feel overwhelmed, and I would just like
let it out.
Brain dump there. Versus these, for me, are easier to stay consistent and do it daily. versus the other one I would do like more random.
Okay.
Not every single day, you know?
Right. Okay.
It's like when I had something I really wanted to write, I would use that one.
Yes. And I think, speaking about consistency, so I was reading back at my journals and I started putting tabs so that I could share some of the stuff that I've been writing with you guys. But in reading it, I realized that I'm not very consistent on a daily basis. Sometimes I have months where I don't write at all. But because I'm consistent with the practice in general, like big picture, I journal. There's so much information in there that I'm so happy that I have, that if I didn't journal, I wouldn't have. So to anyone that is not starting to journal because they're afraid they're not going to be able to be consistent and write every day, to me, that's not the point of journaling. The point of journaling is being able to
use it when you need it.
Yeah, use it when you need it. It's a tool. It's like meditation, where of course you should try and practice it every day because it's good for you, da da da. But if you don't, that's okay too, and that doesn't mean that you're a bad meditator or a bad like journaler.
No, not at all. And sometimes, I don't know if that happens to you. Well, I guess not, because you don't do it every day, but sometimes when you do it every day, sometimes I wake up and it's like, what do I write? You know, sometimes I don't have much to say. And those days I literally just start writing whatever. It could be like something as simple as like my dream last night. You know, like analyzing
and that's
a dream.
great too.
Yeah.
Writing down your dreams.
Yeah.
Because if you're into intuition and all of that, apparently if you write your dreams, then you'll become more intuitive as a person.
Oh, really? Oh. Didn't know that.
Yeah. So I try and pay attention to my dreams as much as I can. In the morning, first thing, I try and go over my dream again. I don't always write it down, but there's some dreams, like, you know, that dream about the rat that I had. Yes. I wrote it down. Like, I wrote every detail. I'm like, okay.
And then this happened, and then that happened.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I might start doing that.
So when I was thinking about journaling, I then saw it in two different ways that journaling helps me. Journaling helps me short term and long term in different ways. So short term, it helps me clear my mind or free my mind, like we talked about, like letting everything out on paper. And then long term, it helps me see the recurring thoughts that I have and the patterns that I have.
Okay.
But it's so clear. Like it's like the first time you start journaling, you might not understand, like, okay, this is not changing my life. But as you keep journaling and journaling and journaling, like we were talking about earlier, for me, the same thing keeps repeating over and over and over again about the type of life that I want, the person that I am, what I want to do. And so I feel long-term journaling just helps you find your purpose and be more authentic.
Yes. It's so funny because what you've shared with me, it was so clear. I told you, like, oh, you really want this specific lifestyle, because you keep mentioning throughout
my
months
journaling
apart.
like months years apart, yeah. So I started journaling, and this is the first notebook that I had. It was literally, I just had it lying around. So that's one thing that's interesting also about our styles, is like, for me it's just like a random book, but for you it's like a book.
Yeah.
That
I bought specifically
for journaling.
For
you know, oh, I didn't show you this, but this is actually funny. So I was learning Spanish. That's like the first thing that I wrote on.
What do you have in there?
I have aunque, although.
That's cute.
Nubes, clouds.
But were you just like seeing things and then trying to translate them?
I don't remember where I got these words from. I think a lot of them were from songs, like, for example, this Como si supiera. It's as if you knew. But it's from a Jay Cortez song. I don't know if you know it.
No.
Como si supiera lo que hay en mi mente. Yo quiero robarte. No. Como un delincuente. You know?
No. Wow, but you're really good.
Yeah, so that was from the songs. But just to say, it started off as not being about journaling. And then I just started to journal. And the first one is in June 2020. So I really started journaling during COVID. I realized from looking at this again.
Oh, now I wish I didn't throw away the other one so I could see, because that was the first one.
Really? During COVID?
I don't know. I think it was maybe 2021. 2021.
2021.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I started properly journaling because my friend got this one for me as a birthday present.
So the most recent writings that you have are in 2022.
The most recent? No, that's when I started.
Or sorry, the later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the oldest.
The oldest. Yes. The oldest
Yeah,
things
that's
that you
the
wrote about were in
oldest.
2022.
Yeah. I've noticed that you go back to them and then you read them, whatever, but
Mhm.
I haven't read them back. I think it's just like I just want to brain dump and then, close the book and put it
That's
away.
it.
That's it. I'm not
Don't
never
think about
opening
it.
I don't want to open it again.
But when you're ready and you look back at it, it's very refreshing because you read about the moments that you were happy, but also the moments that you were sad and were going through like hard times, and it just puts everything into perspective. And it just makes you feel better about who you are today. It's like, okay, I've overcome all of these things.
Yeah, you see what you have overcome and what you've changed. Because we were talking about it when you go back to them. Because I remember I read one specific page of the notebook that I threw away. And it takes you back to the feelings. To what you were feeling at that time, which is crazy. Because I literally can imagine myself that day writing the thing and how I was feeling while I was writing it. So powerful.
It's so powerful. And even, for example, with dreams, when you first wake up of a dream and you remember it, then sometimes it happens to me where I'm thinking of the dream. I'm like, okay, I'll remember the dream. I remember it.
Yeah,
I wake up to go pee. I go back in my bed. I'm like, wait, what was the dream again?
Yeah, no.
Writing things down, it's like it embeds the memory in you.
Yeah. And sometimes I have a dream and I tell it to someone and then I forget.
Yeah.
Not even talking about it helps. I think you have to write it down. So.
Yes. In 2020, the biggest things that I had was I had so much fear about job security. I was worried about money, but my desires were always the same.
Okay.
Which was, and I think I wrote them down here. To live a peaceful, balanced, slow life. This is repeated multiple times in my journaling.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
To trust and have faith in God. To be authentic and live without fear. And to help others.
I know that help others too.
Repeated all over the place.
That's basically you. From what we've talked about, all these, since I've known you, you've mentioned that, like helping others and living like a simple, relaxed, but yet fulfilling life.
Yeah. And it's so easy to forget that, even if it's part of who you are and part of your core. On days where I'm lost and feeling super overwhelmed, I can tell in my writing that I'm forgetting about all these things that I know. And sometimes I'm questioning myself and I'm asking, but do I really want this? I don't know. But I'm like, girl, like yesterday you wrote about how all of these things. So
no, and I think it's a good way when you were saying like short-term and long-term goals. It's like it's a way of you putting your thoughts together, and then it's like not a vision board, but in a way like attracting those things just by writing them down.
Yes. And then the more clear I am about what I want, then the more I'm able to identify them in my life, and the better it is to set boundaries. Through journaling, I feel I've become a lot better at setting boundaries, just because now I know a lot clearer what I want and what I accept, what I don't accept. Oh, there's actually something that I wrote down in one of them that I had seen on Instagram. It's a quote that says, every decision you make is not a decision about what to do. It's a decision about who you are. And that stuck with me. I was like, yeah, if you realize that long term, it's just about getting to your true purpose and getting to the most authentic version of you, that's all you need to know, even if the decision might look like a wrong one. Or people also say, just make the decision. Like, don't wait it out and let time pass and not make a decision. Even if you fail, even if it was the wrong decision, just make a decision and move forward.
Yeah, because also when you have like a north point or like somewhere that you want to go, you make decisions based on that. And if you are really clear about what you want, then it's easier for you to be like, okay, if I do this, then it's gonna get me closer to that point, or if I do the opposite, it's gonna get me farther. So it's
that's a really good point. I saw the other day a video of this guy that spoke about how you have to think about your life almost in reverse. Basically, you have to think about who you want to be and everything else will be answered.
Mm-hmm.
For example, he was saying that people sometimes come to him and are like, well, what should I eat? What type of diet should I have? And he's like, well, who do you want to be? Like, oh, well, what type of work should I have? I don't really know what I want to do with this, that. Okay, well, who do you want to be? It's like it all goes back to
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
Who you are, who you want
Yeah,
to
that's
be.
like the main
And then
question.
it's the main question. And once you know that, then all of the other questions
Mm-hmm.
are so much easier to answer because you have your essence.
Yeah, and I feel that that's one difference between you and I, that you know exactly what you want. And I think we have talked about this, that sometimes I'm very confused. And I think that's why things like these help me. I got this one that it's the growth. I'm sure people have seen it because it's all over TikTok. So I got it from TikTok.
Okay.
So it's the growth. It's a guided journal. It's basically, it has every page, it has a question. The questions are very uncomfortable in a way that I ask you like
Really?
deep
Like
stuff.
what? Can you read one of them?
For example, this one is, how do you balance your needs with the needs of others in relationships? Or what are some misconceptions or fears you have about love? So things that make you think, and then
Okay.
as you answer them, it makes you get to know yourself a little better. So I think this is a great one for growth. And I got this one because I was like, I really want to get to know myself a little bit more, because it got to a point that I felt I lost myself in a way. And I thought this one would help me. I haven't fully started, to be honest. I kept just doing like daily check-ins, which are more simple.
So do you feel, out of the three that you have, do you feel one of them in particular
yeah, I
like
think
it's easier for you?
yeah, this one is the one that it's called daily check-in. So it's basically like smaller prompts, like word of the day, self-care act of the day, nutrition goal of the day, movement of the day. I really like this one, sending love to, and then you put your right name.
Okay. And is it the same? So it's the same every day?
The same every day.
So it's the same every day. It just gives you...
It's like that day you have to wake up and connect with yourself and what I
Okay.
want to get out of today, basically.
Okay.
Then repeat after me. Today I'm grateful for, and then it has another one that says free your mind. And then that's when you brain dump and write whatever you want. And then on the other side, which happens to me a lot, we've talked about this in the meditation episode, that sometimes I'm meditating and I'm thinking about everything that I have to do, blah, blah, blah. So then this one has a to-do list, so you can put everything that's on your mind to do.
Yes.
And then in the end, it says, I will accomplish, and it has 3 bullet points. So it's basically, you pick out of everything on your to-do list, you pick 3, and that's what you'll accomplish that day, which has been really helpful, actually. And then in every page, it has a different quote.
So you prefer to do the to-do list in the morning?
Yes.
Do you do one for the end of your day?
No, and this one, it had, which I really liked as well, the first part of the page was during the day, and then the last part you would do before going to bed. And then it had 2 questions. What made me really happy today? And then what could I have done better today? So it would be like self-reflection. And that was really nice too, because it's like a simpler task. It's just 2 questions that make you reflect on the day.
The reason why I ask you is because for me, it's been very helpful sometimes to do to-do lists before I
day.
close like all of my work. That way it allows me to literally let go of work and be like, from here on, nothing else can be done. Everything that needs to be done tomorrow is on this page, and it's a problem for tomorrow. But for now, I'm just gonna relax and do like my night routine and all of that.
Yeah, and it lets you like disconnect and be like, okay, I know, like be prepared for the next day without stressing about it. Just you write it down, you know what you have to do. I used to do that, but I would do it like time blocking. I would put it in my calendar, literally.
Okay.
It's called time blocking, and it's really nice because
is it like an app?
No, it's just like a way of doing it. Like I do it in my calendar, like in my
phone calendar.
My phone calendar. It's like I would even put breakfast. So I would have breakfast from 8 to 9, and then if I want to water the plants, something as simple as that you never find the time to do that. If you put it in your calendar, for some reason it makes you do it.
Yes.
So it's like
I've done
minutes.
that before, but never on the calendar. Like I've written, like here, for example, wake up at 6:30 a.m. Practice gratitude, journal, drink water, intuitive stretching.
But you don't have time.
Handstand practice. Sometimes I think
That's
in
your
this one I
routine.
didn't really have.
But you don't have like times.
I had sometimes, I had sometimes called out, but okay, so then we can talk about topics of what we usually write.
Okay.
For me, it goes in waves. Certain periods of my life, I write more about my career, and then other times I write more about more emotional stuff or more relationship driven stuff, and not necessarily in a romantic way, just like in general with relationships in my life overall.
Any type of relationship.
Yeah, any type of relationship. And then sometimes it's so deep.
It's like really connecting.
Yeah.
With your
It's like how do you call, like, contemplating. I'm like contemplating about the world and our like existence.
Yeah.
So, but you have mentioned to me that you journal more about your emotions. Is that like mainly?
Yes. It's like, cause, well, you know, I'm a very emotional person. And yeah, that's what affects me the most, I would say, on a daily basis. So putting them in paper, it has helped me so much, especially because also I'm not very good at expressing myself. So just writing them down, it's as soon as you start, you keep going. Sometimes I need to stop.
Yes, yeah. I'm like, okay, wait, what time is it? I need to like do something else.
It's like actually wrapping up.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But I write the most. Sometimes even my wrist hurts. I'm like, I'm not used to writing, like, you know, with a pen. You always like to just type. But I've noticed that if it depends on the phase that you are in your life, because I remember after COVID that I was struggling finding a job, whatever, it was really consuming me. I felt I had a lot of pressure. I had like a life crisis about what I wanted to do with my life, like what type of job I wanted. So I felt at that time I was in a position where I could 360 my life and be like completely changed the course of my life depending on the job that I wanted to take. So I had like a life crisis right there, and I remember I would write a lot about it.
But you threw it out.
I threw that one out. I was like, because that's what I was telling you. Like, I just write it down and I put it away, and it's like, let me just put it away. And one day I was cleaning my desk and I saw it because it was all dirty and like destroyed. So I was like, let me just, I don't know, throw it away. But I wish I had it so I could read.
Does it ever happen to you that I noticed in my older journaling that sometimes I would not write the name of the person that I'm talking about? I would just write the initial or something just in case someone were to like open it.
I would like say something like a friend or whatever.
Yeah.
But not the person.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Like, it's like you're not specific. But I've started practicing in my journaling to be specific. So I've started writing the name of the person, and I realize that it makes me be more comfortable with what I'm feeling and more okay. It makes it more okay.
Yes.
It's like,
totally.
I realize that it's like you're kind of hiding yourself to yourself. It's like
No, I feel the same way. And you know, I started doing the same thing because on this one, in the beginning, it says, write as if no one is going to read this. Like, write freely and just express yourself freely, because especially if you live with someone, you feel like if they find it like laying somewhere that they're gonna like grab it and start reading it. But just like either have a conversation with that person and be like, okay, this is my space, like safe space. You can grab it and read it without my permission. Just have a conversation or just hide it. You know? Hide it. Put it in your car.
But
lug it down.
I feel it's a good also check-in with yourself. How protective are you with what's written in there? In the sense that if you feel like the person that you're writing about that would read it would feel a certain way about it, maybe there's some stuff that you need to communicate to them that you haven't communicated. So I actually, for me, I leave it on my nightstand. It's like literally for anyone to read. You can go and read it if you want, literally.
Wait, wouldn't you be bothered?
I wouldn't be bothered. Obviously, if you're being like Snoopy and going into my room when I didn't tell you to go into my room and like reading my stuff, it's like, no, don't do that.
But what if I walk into your room and see it and let me read it?
I would read it with you.
No, I know, but it's like because you are reading it to me. But if I grab it from your nightstand and start reading it,
well, it's different because you don't have my consent, right?
Right.
But even if you did that, I wouldn't be ashamed of what you read.
Okay.
I would just question your
why?
I would just question your sense of boundaries. You know what I mean?
It's like, why? No, actually, I wouldn't want anyone to read my stuff unless I read it to you.
Yes.
But I wouldn't want
Would
anyone.
you be mad at me?
Yeah. It's like, this is my, like, I'm putting myself in here,
there.
like,
Yeah.
with no filter, with no nothing
Uh-huh.
to hide from myself, but from anyone else. Yeah, I don't want anyone to read it. I'm like very private with some stuff. So if I don't want to share it with you, I don't want you to read it without my consent.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting because I feel I've been like that for forever. And recently, for some reason, I'm really just saying to myself that it doesn't matter ultimately what people know and not know about me, obviously,
Right.
to a certain extent. So that I should just be myself and expose myself.
Wow.
It's like a practice of exposing myself
That it's
to
like,
feel comfortable with myself.
That's like an exercise. Wow. Well, you have read some journaling that you have done to me.
Yeah. So for example, reading to you, that's also like,
Yeah, that's another exercise.
it kind of puts away the stigma around. It just makes it feel more normal. So the more that I feel normal about what I feel,
Okay. That's a good
the
way
better I feel about myself.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
That way I know that I'm not hiding. It's just me.
I haven't read back on these sometimes because it has a side that says free your mind and the other one to-do list, but sometimes I just use that to keep writing.
Free your mind.
To keep writing.
You know, that's an issue that I had because I remember I was at a camp one time and they had given me a book to journal about. I think I probably still have it at my house. And it was guided. But I would hate the guided one because I'm like, no, but I want more space. And then
you
I'm
were right
such a perfectionist that I hate like not being perfectly in the box.
Yes.
So having this notebook literally doesn't even have lines.
No.
It's literally white. And this allows me to not be perfect about it and to just.
But you're pretty perfect about it. I can see.
You can see that.
You even have like some drawings.
Yeah, I have some drawings. Sometimes it's better for me to like illustrate for you to look at this.
Wow. No, it's so funny that we're so different yet so similar.
I know, right?
And also another funny thing that we do is that we write in English.
Oh yes, that's a good point. Because both my first language is French, Andrea's first language is Spanish. We both journal in English.
For some reason, and I've talked to friends about this, and they also journal in English. And English is not their main language. Yes. I don't know why. There's something that makes you want to.
Do you think that is because it's a... Do you think it's because we've learned about journaling in English?
I think maybe for me, I know how to express myself better in English. Like I can find the words better in English.
That's so interesting. Because you have mentioned to me before that, for example, when we were starting the podcast, that you were kind of nervous about doing it in English and you'd feel more comfortable in Spanish. So it's interesting that you feel you express yourself better in writing in English.
Yeah, like I can find the emotion, like the word in English faster than in Spanish,
Me
you know?
too.
Oh, and also something that I just remember talking about those emotions, since it's so hard for me to express myself, I think it's Wheel of Emotions. I don't know if you have heard about it.
Is it an app or?
No. Let me just Google it. Okay, so this has helped me because it's basically a wheel.
Okay.
So it has like different levels. So you start with a simpler emotion like angry, sad, happy. And sometimes you feel angry, but that doesn't represent exactly the emotion that you're feeling. So you go there and you say angry, and then it breaks down a little bit further. And then
I love this. I've never seen it before. Wheel of Emotions.
To give you an example, let's say you're angry, but then it breaks it down a little bit more, and then you feel let down or humiliated or mad or aggressive, frustrated, and then it even breaks it down further. Let's say I feel angry and let down, and then it breaks it down to betrayed or resentful. So it's like it helps you pinpoint exactly what you're feeling, because sometimes
I love that.
I feel sad, but I don't know why I feel sad. So maybe it's because I feel hurt, and then I feel hurt because I'm embarrassed or disappointed, or you know.
That's amazing. It's actually a nice way to start journaling.
Yes.
If ever you're feeling something, you know you want to let it out, but you don't know what it is, it's probably a good way to go and say, okay, I'm feeling this. And then you're like, oh, okay. And then that allows you to write better.
Yes,
I
that's
love
what
that.
I used it, because at some point of my life recently I felt that I was like disconnected from myself and a little bit lost and not knowing how to express myself. So I was like, I don't know where to start. So I remembered seeing this a long time ago, and I was like, okay, this is a great way to start
I
for
love it.
someone that doesn't know.
I love it.
Exactly. So I highly encourage people, if they're going through the same thing, to look it up. And then you don't need to maybe journal about it, but sometimes if you feel something but you don't know exactly what it is, you can just go back to this, and then it'll help you understand yourself a little bit better.
I love that. That actually reminds me a couple things that I came across just on social media and through people that I've learned over time that has stayed with me as a way of viewing life, really, and that I've noticed in my journaling about my patterns. And I've noticed a lot of times that I have a lot of ups and downs. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, like, here in 2022, January 23rd, I wrote something, and then the next one was in July 18th.
Oh wow!
So I had gone all of these months without
maybe
writing.
6 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
6 months.
But there's still so much information in there. Just to say that consistency doesn't have to look like you writing every day. Consistency is just a practice of showing up for yourself when you know you need it the most.
Yeah, it's like what we were saying. It's like a tool for you to understand yourself or whatever you're going through. Just put your emotions down on paper, or organize your ideas, or envision something, or you can use it as a tool.
Yeah, for sure. I wrote, well, you're talking about envisioning. On this page, it's like I'm writing as if I'm already my future self. So it's like writing in the present tense about how I am physically, how I am mentally, what type of house I live in, what type of, like, who I'm surrounded with.
We have talked about the house.
Yeah.
Many times.
Yes. I have I already have a whole house design in my head.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to go back to what I was saying, that the visuals that have helped me over time in relations to patterns. For example, this is in February 2024. I started writing. I have no reason to be scared. Trust in God. If life is taken care of by God, why do I need to fear? Don't take things too seriously. Have fun. Be cheerful in the face of failure and doubt. Fear reminds you that you still have some work to do in your relationship with God. Okay? And then on March 3rd, I wrote, this past week, I lost some of my peace. I was easily distracted and not very present. It was harder for me to stay calm and grounded. It was very difficult to remind myself that there's no need to fear because God is with me. Like, literally a couple days after, it's like the total opposite.
Yeah.
One day I'm like, I trust and I feel great and confident and clear. And then the other day I'm lost. And I lose total grounds of, like, everything that supports me on a daily basis. And then March 22nd, I'm writing with a heart filled with gratitude, excitement, and love.
You can see that you went through so many different emotions.
Yes, so many different emotions. And that's what I'm saying about journaling for me that has been so great, is seeing that progression. And I noticed that the shifts that I had a lot within myself were from clarity and confidence to uncertainty and doubt.
Okay.
So it's like I'm here, I'm clear and confident, and then I go back down to uncertain and doubtful. And then clear and confident, uncertain and doubtful, clear and confident, uncertain. And it's like, oh, it's like you can imagine like a wheel. I go do that cycle over and over and over again. And one thing that has helped me understand the downside a lot better is realizing that when you're on that lower side of the circle, when you're at the bottom and your doubt and in your confusion, it's such a beautiful moment, because it's in that moment that you realize what you have to work on. So if you hadn't gone through that cycle, then you would not know what it is you need to work on. So it's like there's a saying that says, if you ask God to be more courageous, what is God going to send you? God is going to send you a situation in which to be courageous. God is not going to
it's not
send you courage, you know?
Yes.
It's like it's basically in that sense, like when you go through these down moments, use that as a way to self-reflect and understand what you need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes the upward moment a lot more fulfilling and rewarding, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But then also to think that it's not just a circle that goes in round like that. And then it's like, what's the point in life? I'm just going in circle and like going up and down and up and down, and it's never moving. But it's not like that, because if you were to expand the circle into a graph, the graph wouldn't go like this. It's not like up, down, up, down, up, down. I'm staying like this. It's more like up, down, up, down,
yeah,
up,
you keep
down. You keep going
growing
up. And if it
like
was,
you keep evolving.
you keep evolving. And if life was always just a straight line, then you would never go as high as you could ultimately be if you didn't have these lows.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen it before, but there's this video of two paths. One of them that has hills and valleys, and then the other one that's just straight. And you put two balls at the top of it, and you let go of the balls. You would think that the ball that's on the straight path will get there first, but the one that goes through the dips and
ups and
downs gets there first. So it's like a clear visualization of, okay, these down moments are so important to my ultimate growth and will help me get there faster.
Yeah, that in the moment when those downs are happening, you feel like it's the end of the world and it's like you won't get anywhere, but it's actually what you're saying. It helps you grow and evolve and work on parts of that you think that you needed to work on and that you had to work on to become a better person.
Yes. And realizing that in that work and in those dark times, if you can find beauty in it, and if while you're crying you can understand that there's so much growth happening during that time and that there's so much expansion, then it's like it for me, journaling allows me to see my life big picture. And not just I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that, and it's like I'm like in my world. But no, when you look at it big picture, it's like you have gone through all of these things.
Yes.
And it's so beautiful.
And also you can tell how much you've changed from chapter to
chapter. Yes.
kind of like that chapter.
Yeah.
Like different chapters of your life, you can see how much you've grown.
Yes, for sure.
It's so good that you have them, like that you keep saving them.
You should stop throwing them out.
I know. I will.
Honestly, I almost threw this one out at some point.
Really?
Yeah, because I was scared of people reading it.
Yeah, because it's so personal. Like you put yourself there. Like you talk about deep whatever you're feeling. So it's good that you don't feel like that anymore. But still, I do feel like I don't want people to read mine. It's because I don't know. It's so personal.
It's so personal. And I feel that's something that might hold a lot of people back from journaling. Yeah. Is the fear of being exposed. Well, not only by other people, but by yourself.
Yeah, totally. It's like, and you shouldn't write down fearful.
Yes.
You know? Just should write down just no filter, whatever you're feeling, however it comes out, it comes out.
I noticed that in the very beginning of me journaling, I would sometimes judge myself as I'm writing it down. Like, oh my God, it's like, wow. It's like judging it. Like, damn, girl.
I'm feeling dark today.
Yeah, like, whoa, it's kind of dark. But over time, it just becomes easier and more natural. And, you know, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah. No matter the path you're on, all of it is beautiful. And I believe that everyone should be able to celebrate their path. No, yeah. And I think journaling is a great way to do it.
It's a great tool.
It's amazing,
a great tool because also it helps you to get to know yourself better. And over time, you become more clear.
Yes. So we definitely talked about this in one of the episodes, that gratitude and just being present is about remembering. I think we talked about that probably in the boundaries episode. I'm not sure, but we were just saying being present is about remembering to be present, and being grateful, I think, is also about remembering what you have, and just a constant reminder. And for me, journaling is that constant reminder. And then for me, reading back at what I write, it's to remember. That's why I read back, to remember who I am, what I like, what I'm grateful for.
What you've been through.
What I've been through. Yeah.
Wow, that's a nice way.
So actually, I think this will be a good point of reference onto, because we spoke about how we wanted to do for the New Year's something about
Girl, we're
vision.
connected. I was gonna say this is a good segue to do an episode about.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Like a vision board or envisioning.
Cool. So you can look forward to that. That's it for today's episode. We encouraged you to journal.
Yes. And I think I'm going to link this below. So
Yes, you should.
if you want to start with a guided journaling experience, I'm going to link this below. So if you're interested, you can find them in the description.
And I can also link these. They're pretty nice. They're from Amazon. If you want just a blank page journal.
Yeah.
And you can also customize it on the outside and like
really?
do doodles on it.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what it's for. Like you can
I see.
draw on it on the outside. I haven't done anything to it because I'm basic, but you can. You can like put pictures in it or
So
whatever.
you have like both sides of the coin. You
Yes.
can do plain or you can do guided.
Yeah. I love it.
Cool.
I love that we're both so different,
Yeah, I know. Me too.
but so the same.
It's crazy.
All right. So if you enjoyed this episode, give it a like, leave us a comment below.
You can find us on Instagram, Spotify, TikTok as You Are Pod.
Yeah. On YouTube, everywhere.
Everywhere. As You Are Pod.
The only way this podcast grows is if you share our content and subscribe. So please do.
Yes. And thank you all for your love and support.
Thank
Love
you. Love you. Bye.
Bye.